Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, today we are going to discuss the poem The Solitary Reaper. आज हम जो नज़म डिस्कस करने जा रहे हैं वो है द सॉलिटरी रीपर, तन्हा फसल काटने वाली लड़की, written by William Wordsworth. This poem is written by William Wordsworth. Look at the title first. The title is The Solitary Reaper. It's not a solitary reaper. The title is The Solitary Reaper. It means the poet is going to discuss about a specific, about a particular solitary reaper. शायर जो है ये किसी खास रीपर के बारे में गुफ्तगू करने जा रहा है. The title is the name with an adjective, the solitary, तन्हा, reaper, फसल काटने वाली. So the word reaper is again made from a verb. So both the solitary and reaper are the words which specify the action of the girl. And the second thing is the loneliness, the solitariness of the girl. दो चीज़ें टाइटल में मखसूस हुई हैं. एक तो उसका काम कि वो काम जो कर रही है वो, और दूसरा उसकी तन्हाई. So the title highlight the loneliness, the environment in which the girl is working, and at the same time the work which she or he is doing. And when we read the poem, we will see that these are the things which are discussed in the poem. So we can say the title is very apt and suitable and symbolic too. So let's see what are the various characteristics of this poem and also discuss the text in English and Hindi, Urdu as well. First of all, it's a romantic poem. You know, Wordsworth is famous for writing romantic poetry. The movement which started in at the end of 17th and 18th, at the end of 18th century, Wordsworth is one of those poets who belong to this tradition of writing romantic poetry. We have Keats, we have Wordsworth, we have William Blake, we have others writing romantic poetry. So Wordsworth is one of the most famous poet of romanticism. So this poem, The Solitary Reaper, is a romantic poem. ये नज़म द सॉलिटरी रिपर भी एक रोमांटिक पोइम है. तो इस नज़म के हवाले से हम रोमांटिक पोइम को डिस्कस करेंगे. A romantic poem is a poem in which the poet escapes into the world of imagination, past, or nature. He presents some ideal world. He uses very simple vocabulary, but there is some definite rhyme scheme as per the definition given by William Wordsworth. So this poem is a romantic poem because in this poem the poet goes back into some incident of the past. He thinks about a solitary reaper who is a part of nature and he creates an ideal world. He uses simple vocabulary and there is also a definite rhyme scheme of this poem. So we can say The Solitary Reaper is a romantic poem. And let's discuss the text now. अब हम text discuss करेंगे. The Solitary Reaper, तन्हा फसल काटने वाली. Behold her, देखो उसे. Single in the field, तन्हा खेत में. Look at her, see her. Single, alone, solitary, with no one present, in the field, खेत में. She is in the field. There is nobody present beside her. She is all alone. She has no companion there. She is companionless. Look at her. The poet invites us to see her in the environment of nature, in the environment of field. She is all alone. Young, beyond, there, solitary, single, alone, companionless, highland. Highland is with H capital. Pahadan, lass, girl. Lass means pure girl. Pure who is physically and spiritually pure. Who is not touched by any mental, physical or spiritual corruption. Young, beyond, solitary, tanha. So once again we see in the second line there is the word solitary. In the first line the word is single. So we see that the word solitary or loneliness is being emphasized. The poet emphasizes her loneliness and in the environment of nature. And we also see that her character, Highland lass, she is a pure girl who is physically and spiritually pure, reaping and singing. And now we have the second word of the title, reaping. Reaping, cutting. She is working and singing and also singing a song. So she is doing two things. She is reaping, she is cutting crop and singing and also singing a song by herself. Another word to emphasize her loneliness. She has nobody to listen beside. She is all alone, cutting the crop and singing some song. Stop here or gently pass. And there is a sign of exclamation at the end of the line. Whether you stop or you go on your way, it doesn't interfere with her work. She is absorbed in her work as well as in her song. Alone. Now the poet once again remembers her loneliness. He wants us to fully realize the environment and the work which she is doing. She is all alone. She is cutting and binds the grain. She cuts and binds the grain. Now this line is given to her work. Cuts and binds. काटती है और बांधती है the grain गंदम के जो. She is cutting as well as binding the grain. And sings a melancholy strain और एक गमगीन गाना गाती है. So this line is focused on her singing. So in these lines, in the first 6 lines, the poet talks about a very common incident of the life of a villager. When a villager is working in the field. So we can say the first 6 lines are narrative lines in which a very common incident of the life of a villager is narrated, where we find a girl who is all alone in her field and is singing and reaping by herself. She is cutting the grain and binding it too. And she is also singing a song. So having described about the song of the girl and her work, now the poet goes to the effect of the song and he says, "Oh listen, suno, for the vale profound, जो गहरी वादी है, is overflowing with the sound." ये पूरी उसके गाने से झूम रही है. Now the poet talks about the effect of the song. This is, you can say, the target why the poet is talking about this girl. She first talks about the environment in which she is working as well as singing her song. And now he talks about the effect of the song. "Oh listen, for the vale profound is overflowing with the sound." The entire valley is overflowing with the sound of the song of the girl. The song is so effective that the entire valley is under the magical spell of the sound of the song of the girl, that it is also overflowing. The poet doesn't feel the effect on himself only. He also feels the effect that the entire valley is overflowing, is dancing with the sound of the song of the girl. No nightingale did ever chant. Now the poet doesn't feel satisfied that the entire valley is overflowing with the sound of the song of the girl. He further talks about the fact of the song. No nightingale did ever chant. कहता है आज तक किसी बुलबुल ने ऐसा गाना नहीं गाया. More welcome notes, खुश आमदीद करने वाला, to weary bands, थके हुए मुसाफिरों को, of travelers, टू वेरी बैंड्स, थके हुए ग्रुपों को, ऑफ ट्रैवलर्स, मुसाफरों के, इन सम शेडी हांट, किसी सायादार जगह पे, अमंग अरेबियन सैंड्स, अरेबी साहलों पे. नाउ द पोइट फील्स दैट हर सॉन्ग इज अ ग्रेट वेलकम नोट टू टायर्ड बैंड्स, टू टायर्ड ग्रुप्स ऑफ ट्रैवलर्स इन सम शेडी हैंड अमंग अरेबियन सैंड्स. अरेबी साहलों में थकी हुए मुसाफरों के लिए ऐसा गाना नहीं है. सो वी हैव टू गो डीप व्हाट द पोइट मीन्स टू से. व्हेन वी पास थ्रू अरेबियन सैंड, जब हम अरेबी साहलों से गुजरते हैं, तो वी इन द पास्ट व्हेन दिस पोइम वाज रिटन इट वाज रियली डिफिकल्ट टू पास थ्रू अरेबियन सैंड बिकॉज the facilities were not so modern and easily available. जो अरेबियन सैंड है उनमें से गुजरने के लिए we have to use camels, and history tells when people used to go through those Arabian sands they carried extra camels. They drank them well, and when on the way they needed water, they sacrificed those camels and brought water out of their bellies to drink. अब अगर रास्ते में मुसाफिर थक जाएं, पानी की अवेलेबिलिटी ना हो, it means they would definitely die. If water is not available, they would definitely die. Now what would they do? While they are tired and they are waiting for the death to come, in those times they hear the song of some nightingale. That song is in fact a welcome note to survive. Why? Because the nightingale sings where there is some greenery, and greenery is there where there is water. So now the poet says they have water, the availability of water in some shady hand. Now they will survive. Now the song of the nightingale is in fact a message of availability of water, and availability of water is a message of life for the tired travelers. So this song would definitely be life-giving song for the people. So since it's a life-giving song, this would be very sweet for the travelers. But the poet says, no nightingale did ever chant. The song of the girl is sweeter than the song of the nightingale, which sang to welcome the tired groups of travelers in some shady hand. Why? The song of the nightingale carries the message of life for the travelers. It carries the message of the availability of water for the travelers, whereas the song of the nightingale carries the message, the song of the girl carries the message of spiritual purification for the poets. Here we have to think further. इंसान के लिए मुल्क बड़ा अहम होता है उसका. अपने मुल्क के लिए हम दूसरे मुल्क में चले जाते हैं पैसा कमाने के लिए, मतलब पैसा हमें अपने मुल्क से थोड़ा शायद अजीज़ है. अब इसके अलावा क्या होता है, बाद लोग ऐसे होते हैं जिनको अपना मुल्क अजीज़ होता है, लेकिन प्रैक्टिकली अगर हम देखें तो हम पैसे के लिए मुल्क को छोड़ देते हैं, और बहुत सारे लोग अपने मुल्क को बेच भी देते हैं. दूसरी तरफ पैसे से ज़्यादा अहम होती है हमारी जान. अगर हमारे गर्दन पे कोई चाकू या छुरी रखे तो हम जो है वो अपनी जान बचाने के लिए अपना पैसा दे देते हैं. लेकिन पैसे से भी अहम जो है वो कुछ होता है, यानी जान से भी अहम कुछ होता है। जैसे कि अगर हमारी गर्दन पे कोई छुरी रखे और वो हमें कहे कि हम अपना ईमान छोड़ दें, तो हम कहते हैं नहीं, गर्दन काट दो, लेकिन हम अपना ईमान नहीं छोड़ेंगे। मीनिंग बाय स्पिरिचुअल प्योरिफिकेशन इज डियरर देन आवर फिजिक, देन आवर बॉडी, देन आवर लाइफ। इंसान की रूहानी पकीजगी जो है ये उसकी ज़िंदगी से ज़्यादा अहम है। So the song of the girl carries the message of spiritual purification, whereas the song of the nightingale carries only the message of life. A voice so thrilling never was heard. ऐसी आवाज़ आज तक ना सुनी गई in spring time, spring के मौसम में, from the cuckoo bird. Now once again here we see cuckoo bird carries the message of the arrival of spring, whereas the song of the girl carries the message of spiritual purification. That is why it is sweeter than that of the cuckoo bird, breaking the silences of the sea among the farthest Hebrides. तो ये खामोशियाँ समुद्रों की तोड़ते हुए आवाज़ पहुंचती है among the farthest Hebrides, दूसरे दूर दराज स्कॉटिश पीपल को। The song of the cuckoo reaches to the farthest Hebrides, to the farthest Scottish people, breaking the silences of the seas, but the song of the nightingale is sweeter. Will no one tell me what she sings? क्या मुझे कोई नहीं बताएगा what she sings, वो गाती क्या है? So there is a question mark. The poet wants to know what she is singing. The poet is not able to understand the very words of the song of the girl. She is singing in some highland language. She is singing in some unknown language. And the poet is not able to understand the very words of the song of the girl. Perhaps the plaintive numbers flow. शायद कुछ सादा से गाने होंगे. Maybe she is singing some plain, some very common song for old, unhappy, far off things. It may be about some old, unhappy incident and battles long ago. या जंग और जंगों के बारे में. The song may be about some tragedy, about some unhappy incident, or about some battle. The song may be about some tragedy. It may be tragic song, or is it some more humble lay, or it may be about some common matter, familiar matter of today. तो ये हो सकता है ये आम से वाक़े जो आजकल का रोज़मर्रा का वाक़या है. नॉर्मली रोज़मर्रा में जो सॉन्ग्स हम सुनते हैं दे आर अबाउट सम लव, अबाउट सम लव अफेयर. सो द सॉन्ग में बी अबाउट सम लव, अबाउट सम नेचुरल सारो, या ये किसी कुदरती गम, मीनिंग बाय लॉस और पेन, अबाउट द डेथ ऑफ सम नियर और डियर वन. That has been and may be again, जो जिंदगी में है और रहेगा. The song may be about some death of some near or dear one which has taken place in our life, or it may remain in our life. The poet guesses the very meanings of the song. The song again comes much effective because the language of the song is unknown to the poet. Whatever the theme the maiden sang. So look at the word again, maiden. Maiden means pure girl. The character of the girl is very important. And we also see that the song is impressive because of the emotions it carries. The emotions which the song carries are affecting the poet, and it is said that emotions have no language. Whatever the theme of the song is not important. What is important? The effect of the song is important. गाने का जो असर है वो अहम है. And this effect is there in the song because the person who is singing is maiden, is pure spiritually and physically. As if her song could have no ending. It appears the song could have no ending. It would never come to an end. What is the thing which makes the song so impressive? It is the affect. It is the emotions of the girl which are overflowing. I saw her singing at her work. The poet once again remembers he saw she is singing at her work at the same time working. And over the sickle bending, और वो धराती पे झुकी हुई है. She is bending over the sickle. Sickle is an instrument, is a tool to cut, to reap the grain. I listened, मैंने सुना, motionless and still. The poet listened the song, motionless and still. So he attentively listened to the song of the girl. And as I mounted up the hill, then the poet mounted up the hill. He climbed up the hill. शायर ने बेहिसो हरकत गाने को सुना और जैसे ही वो पहाड़ी पर चढ़ा, द म्यूजिक इन माई हार्ट आई बोर, वो मौसीकी जो मैंने सुनी वो मेरे दिल में है. The poet here means to say symbolically that the effect of the song which the poet carries will remain forever in his heart. So the spiritual purification which the song of the girl has brought in the poet would remain with the poet forever. वो रूहानी पाकीज़गी जो शायर के दिल में आ गई है उस लड़की के गाने की वजह से, वो उसके अंदर हमेशा रहेगी. लॉन्ग आफ्टर इट वॉज हर्ड नो मोर. ये अब मजीद वो उस गाने को नहीं सुन सकता. बट द स्पिरिचुअल प्योरिफिकेशन which has taken place in the character of the poet by listening the song of the girl would stay with him forever. He would never lose again that spiritual purification. So the song of the nightingale carries the message of spiritual purification. For such a touch of spiritualization in poems of Wordsworth, we give him the title of a mystic poet sometime, or a poet preaching religion or spiritual purification in his poems, though there is a very minor touch of such purification in his poetry. So we see that the song of the girl is very impressive in this poem, and her work is also important. And we see that emotions have no language, and we also see how beautifully the poet has taken us out of our daily routine, tired, tense life, and we go with the poet in his past, and we can never forget such an effect which is also brought in us after reading this poem. So thank you, and at the end don't forget to subscribe my channel and also use my WhatsApp number. You may call me on my WhatsApp, or for online classes you can contact for IELTS, PT, CSS and PSS. My WhatsApp number is visible on the screen. Thank you very much.